Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Ferdbird the Nerd with another video game market report for you guys. This is a little late this week, Friday, September 27th. Just wanted to get something out there before the weekend. We may not be having a show this weekend just because of due to some personal stuff going on with everyone in the crew for comic books, but I do still am looking at the video game market report as well. But yeah, if you do enjoy these shows, please hit that like button for me, subscribe, tell all your friends about it. We'll keep doing them. And yeah, let's get into it. Something kind of new this week. I was thinking about. I haven't really graded a console ever in my life, and I kind of thought like, okay, what is the console like? What makes a console like do well in the aftermarket? And I think it's it has to do with nostalgia. I think the most collectible ones are the Pokemon branded ones, Nintendo, Zelda, anything like, especially if it's a good game, regardless if it's like overprinted or whatnot, because most of the time those boxes weren't taken care of very well. I can think of one, I won't say console, but like a accessory is the scope that came with a Super Nintendo. I think it'd be so cool to have that, graded and CIB'd just for my personal collection. But I have one just kind of thoughts about this most recent console that came out, and yeah, we'll talk about it like a little bit. I don't have a ton of video games to go over this week, just because I couldn't find anything that was really relative to what I think that we're trying to do on the show. But I do hope you enjoy this week's list. And yeah, thanks for watching. So first up, I know I have really try to hit this Zelda Ocarina of Time, flip, but this is arguably one of the most popular video games of all time. It's across many consoles, and I've always tried to find a very decent grade CIB of the regular version of Ocarina of Time. I've since kind of looked at the more beat up versions of the collector's edition, and not a ton of info on this, but I think that it's a really great collector's edition to have, the game being gold. This is obviously like a gold box, but what's odd is that a CIB 250, so it's complete in box, that was beat up, had a couple tears in it, wrinkles everywhere. I eyeballed it. I gave like a 6.0 grade. Sold for $250. Now, I haven't seen the graded market for a collector's edition 6.0. I've seen a bunch of like sealed ones. I've seen some pretty high grade ones, but I wonder if 250 for a 6.0 eyeball grade, right? Is that going to translate to $500 in a 6.0? I don't know. I would still argue this is the most liquid game to flip if you have like the money to do it. If you can finance it for 0% and just wait. Currently, CGC is taking about, I'd say a month to 5 weeks to get stuff back to me upon them scheduling it for grading. So think about that. I sold a 6.0, the regular version CIB, or 5.0 actually, and it was not in great shape for like, basically I broke even. So if you can find one for 250 and are willing to take a gamble, roll the dice, like let me know. I'm really curious of what that grade would sell at a 6.0. So this is kind of like an idea for, I don't know, like later down the road. I remember this game was really fun when I played a couple hours of it. I think I rented this at Blockbuster, go to Blockbuster, but I think it was kind of late to the game. Like the generation that was playing PS3s wasn't really into Back to the Future. I think this probably would have made more sense to put this on either PS2 at the latest, but PS3 kind of like that weird generation where I don't think they're really think of Back to the Future as like a childhood nostalgia movie. But nonetheless, $40 for this game sealed. I don't think that's bad for probably a game that wasn't very popular, but perhaps the nostalgia will hit again. I mean, Back to the Future has always just been, it's one of those things that like older millennials will show their kids, and who knows, maybe the kids will like the movie. It still tests, it's still a great movie. I watch. I think I've said this in the past, but the Future 3 is my favorite, which is really weird. But anyway, that's your flip of the week, $40. Never mind, this is your flip of the week. So I started playing this game earlier this week. I've had it for a few months, and I cannot put it down. I know that there's been some controversy with this game. What I mean by controversy is that like it came out with a lot of fandom on PS4 and they just dropped the ball basically. Came back on PS5 and redid, got rid of all the kinks, got this going again. This is extremely expensive game to like basically not, try and go back and fix. And I'm out here saying this right now, man. This Cyberpunk 2077 could be arguably one of the top 5 games for PS5. With that said, you have the comic book coming out for this. You have Keanu Reeves is obviously on the cover of this. Get this bad boy signed. If I could right now, I would say this is the safest investment for a modern PS5 game that's probably in high print right now. A majority of these guys are downloaded, and a lot of people just walked away from the game entirely. But it's extremely fun. The graphics are great. The storyline's pretty cool so far. I've logged in about 4 or 5 hours in it so far, and it's basically GTA in the future. So if you want, something that's, I would say, like a pretty high, like it's going to do pretty well in the next 10 to 15 years, or maybe even sooner. I would say get this game sealed. I saw one go for $54 sealed, but yeah, Cyberpunk 2077. If anything, like who knows, this could be there's already a cartoon series out for this already, which is really great. But if there's live action for this, which might take a few years to get that technology going, this could really blow up. So Project Zero, aka Fatal Frame. I found this cover. I think this is the import Japanese cover. I'm not sure. If anyone could figure out that for me, that'd be great. But I think this cover is a lot more mysterious and kind of like clever than the actual Fatal Frame, US version. But I couldn't find this on eBay anywhere. I looked on price charting, and there wasn't really great data for current times, at least. But Fatal Frame itself is still $125 CIB. It's a PlayStation 2, which I think is okay to get CIB versions of games, especially if they're horror games. I just think this cover, if you can find it, man, like I'd rather, if you're trying to invest in horror games, I'd rather go for this one versus the actual Fatal Frame one. It's just, I don't know. I think it's really tight, and it's obviously rare because I can't find it anywhere. So, and last but not least, this is kind of what I alluded to in the beginning of the show. This is going for like $550 retail or $500. I'm not sure. The PS5, I don't know if this is a PS5 Pro or it kind of like has those like same, works to it. There's kind of argument, right, to upgrade to a PS5 Pro because of the, just because of the potential it has and the power that the PS5 Pro has. I'm not going to upgrade to the PS5 Pro. I love my I'm fine with my PS5. I know there's enough games to like justify it going to the, the next upgradable cycle or what have you. I think this is really clean. I think it's a really clean version of the PlayStation. It's 30th anniversary, obviously. But I feel like the PS5 has been out for a very long time, even though it hasn't. I think the problem with PS5 right now is that there's not enough games to justify a new console to come out. But I think people are already waiting for the PS6, which I think is, it kind of tells you that the PS5 was kind of a failure so far. I just don't think there's enough games that have justified, buying a PS5. I mean, I feel there's more games on Xbox and Switch. There's so many options, right? But nonetheless, I think this was a cool, clean idea for Sony to do to encourage people to possibly buy a PS5 along with their Xbox or whatever. Or if you're on the, you're kind of on the hinge for getting a PS5 and you're not really sure. I think it's funny that they're doing, you have to buy the disc version to go along with it, or it's essentially digital. And that just tells you collectible video games are just going to be getting more collectible because the medium of video games is still extremely popular. Everyone has ages 5 to 60 are still getting consoles, So anyway, it's kind of a short week this week. I didn't have a ton to talk about, but that's your video game market report for September 27th, 2024. This is the last one of the month and out of the third quarter. Hope you guys all have a great day. Enjoy the week. And if you could do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, tell all your friends. Look at our past shows. We usually go live on Sundays, but no show this week. So I hope to see you guys next time. Take care.